Hello everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at Dustforce. This is an upcoming PC game. Actually, by the time this video comes out, this will be up on Steam, or will be up on Steam in a few hours anyway. I'm not sure exactly what time Steam does their releases. But anyway, this is a game that's been generating a little bit of buzz, I guess, kind of primarily because there's nothing else coming out right now that's notable from either a mainstream or an indie perspective. But anyway, this is a really unique-looking, janitorial-themed platforming game, and that might seem ridiculous, but you'll understand it, hopefully, because that was kind of a nebulous way to describe the game. Anyway, this is a game coming out of a studio called Hitbox Games. They're an Australian-based studio. As far as I know, this is their first game, and, you know, we're just going to get into the game right now so you can see how this works. So we have 4 different janitor characters. We're going to play a standard blue janitor right here. There's not very much of a story mode, at least not that I can tell in the first, hour or so that I've been playing in the game. Now, pretty much this is kind of like an ambient platformer. It's not like a Mario game where you're trying to kill enemies and primarily get to the end of the level, save a princess. In this, our job is to basically clean up all of these leaves and obviously dust off those animals. You'll see down here. This is the first level in the game, so as we hit these animals that are covered in leaves, they'll just become, cute little squirrels. And when we kill the last one, or I guess clean off the last one, the level will finish. So I guess we are kind of trying to get to the end in like a jet set radio type of sense, but what we're really trying to do is get the highest score that we can on a level. So we got an A for completion, which I believe is our completion time, and an S for finesse, which is the combo meter that we're building up. You know what, let's do that level one more time, because I don't feel like I've explained all the fundamentals. We have these leaves on the ground. You get those just by walking over them. You can do slides, of course, which are standard to the platforming genre, but you can also do attacks, so we have light attacks that you can see here. We also can run on the ceiling to get those leaves. And there are heavy attacks, which hopefully I'll be able to show off. That was obviously a double jump right there. That's a heavy attack. The heavy attack clears off a lot of these in one hit. I also have a special combo attack that I can use. Oh, my meter is not built up enough to use it yet, but now it is. So you can use a combo attack that gets rid of all of it at once, and that's reliant on your meter in the bottom left. So I'll probably get an S for finesse there because I kept my combo going, and an A for completion. Yeah, didn't do it as fast as I wanted. If you notice all the hitbox things in the leaderboards, obviously those are the developers. So I think it's kind of not fair that you guys are taking up your own leaderboard spots if you're watching this. You can see I'm ranked 45th out of 57, so 2 notable things there. One of them is that not a whole lot of people playing this yet, which is fair because the game actually hasn't even released yet. And number 2, 45th out of 57. I kind of suck at this game. Let's get in here. Let's take someone else. Let's take old Father Time here. So every character has their own kind of unique attributes, you could say, although it doesn't change gameplay a whole lot. This guy's got some kind of vacuum instead of a broom. So you can see that his jumps are a little bit different, like he uses this vacuum to jump. His attacks in the air are also a little bit quicker, I would say. So basically our goal with this is that it's not, you can kind of compare it to Super Meat Boy. I can, I'm not prophetic or anything, but I can tell without even looking at any press for this game yet, that this is going to get compared a lot to Super Meat Boy, because the games kind of look similar. 2D platformers that are, a little bit difficult. This game is also hard as well, but it's hard in a different sense. Like, beating a level in Dustforce is not difficult at all. In fact, it's remarkably easy. But getting a high enough score that you can progress through the game easily and, rank highly is borderline impossible, at least for me. But largely, this is just kind of like a relaxing experience, at least as far as I'm into it right now. Let's make sure we take this out right here. I'm having a really good time with Dustforce so far, actually. I've been a little bit hesitant in my descriptions of the game so far to offer my opinion, because I am still very much so early in. And, as an aside, whenever I do these Let's Look At videos, never take them as reviews unless I explicitly state, I lost my combo there, unless I explicitly state that they are meant for reviews, because otherwise these are just first impressions. So, if you're really thinking about picking this game up, read reviews, watch this video to see if the gameplay looks like it's for you, and, see if there's any glaring issues that I mentioned. But otherwise, give it to somebody, or give that responsibility to somebody whose career it is to actually play these games top to bottom before they, offer their opinion on them. I mean, I might only have, an hour or 2 of gameplay into these before I make judgments that go out to, somewhat of a wide audience. So always take what I say with a grain of salt compared to what other people say. I encourage you to get second opinions. But anyway, let's get back to talking about the game. Yeah, I am enjoying it so far, primarily because the graphics are really interesting and really unique, and the soundtrack is really well done as well. Let's check out this level in here. And as we do, I do want to mention a couple of things as we take a different character. Let's take the French maid here with the beret, or the Barrett, as I thought it was pronounced when I'd only played Final Fantasy VII in my entire life. The other reason this is going to be compared to Super Meat Boy is because it's got lots of these wall jumping segments. But I will say, I don't think the game controls as well as Super Meat Boy. I don't think it's as fluid. And, I do have some hesitations, or some hesitancy in recommending this game. A lot of these might be personal problems, but I have had some frame rate issues. I mean, you're probably noticing some frame rate issues in the video right now. This is, at least a certain proportion of this is because I'm using my recording software right now, and, you know, my laptop is actually, it's taken a lot of abuse over the past year or so as I've been recording these videos. Things get hot. I gotta give it a little bit of a tune-up, but still, I have a very, very powerful machine, particularly for a notebook, but I still get frame rate issues even when I don't have any software running in the background, which kind of surprises me. You would think this would be a pretty lightweight, resource, non-intensive game, despite the fact that it looks fantastic. Let's use our extra special attack there. So yeah, I have run into that a lot, and so like minor performance issues, not game-breaking certainly, but it doesn't always look as fluid as I would like it to look, given the aesthetic style of it. And also, you know, the controls just literally don't seem as fluid. It's hard for me to describe that, and it's even harder for you guys to see it just by looking on my camera here, looking on my screen. But Super Meat Boy has kind of spoiled a lot of 2D platformers for me, similar to a game like N+, and actually this game is very similar to N+, although it's a little bit more relaxing than that. What was I going to say? Oh yes, so the controls, Super Meat Boy was so fluid, and I feel nailed it so perfectly, and as its legacy kind of continues, I think that's one of the enduring qualities of Super Meat Boy, is that it controlled so well, and also, you know, death was not a huge problem, and death is not a huge problem in this game either. In fact, I haven't even died yet, but I assure you can die as well. That's all dependent on your combo meter at the bottom. But anyway, yeah, I just don't feel like this controls quite as well as Super Meat Boy, and very, very few games do. But that's kind of a problem when the game is supposed to have this kind of fluid platforming style. There we go. Now, I've been dying a couple times here, and obviously they just respawn you. It's a checkpoint system. There's nothing wrong with that. So, you know, take both my recommendation with a grain of salt and also my my hesitancy with a grain of salt. Because, again, these could be personal problems. You might find that the game controls perfectly fine. I mean, I've played the game using both... Oh, I made it up in the ceiling there. Okay, good. I played the game using both my Xbox 360 controller, which is what I'm using right now, and I believe you can use any gamepad. It looks like it has support, so you can just remap your own keys. So that's fantastic. And I've used the keyboard as well, and both of them control about the same. Normally the 360 controller, and you know, I'm probably going to catch some flack for this in the comments, but normally the PC controller, or the PC controls are not as good, I find, as the Xbox 360 controller, particularly for, you know, something like a platformer like this. But, you know, they both control pretty well on this one. I have no complaints about the mode of the controls. Both of them just seem a little bit clunky sometimes. But by and large, I feel like this is definitely a worthwhile release. Because the game actually hasn't come out yet, there's some details of the release that I'm a little bit foggy about. For example, the price, I'm pretty sure... I've read a rumor that may or may not have been confirmed by the developers of the game. This is going to be $10. And it's coming to PC only for now through Steam, so I don't believe that there is going to be an Xbox Live version or a PSN version to worry about, or, you know, to test out, because those usually come with demos. Unfortunately, but because this looks like it would be a good fit for either of those platforms. But, you know, as is, PC only, it looks like it's going to be $10. I think that's a fair price for this. And if you're watching this gameplay, and if you've seen other gameplay that hopefully was a little bit more fluid, and you think this game looks like it's for you, absolutely, but what it is not is kind of like the knockout indie platformer that I expected to be. I saw some footage of this, you know, you hear the soundtrack, you look at the aesthetics, and you're like, this is going to be fucking awesome, this is going to be the next VVV. I don't think it quite gets to those heights. As I'm moving through the hub world here, I'm just getting to an area that's a little bit later. It's also the area that I'm just at right now, so I've beaten a couple of these later levels, and by later, I mean this is like the second world, but still. Let's go up here, so I can demonstrate something quick. First, there is multiplayer. Sadly, there's no online multiplayer. It's only local multiplayer, which I think is a huge misstep because, you know, local multiplayer on the PC is something that I've just never really been into. Like, two people huddled around a computer screen, especially if you don't have a controller, so, like, one person would have to use the directional pad and one person would have to use, like, I don't know, the number pad or something. I don't think that works very well, and I really hope that if they want this game to have any kind of endurance, or, you know, people are still going to be talking about it in 6 months' time, they're probably going to need some kind of multiplayer component, because otherwise, I don't feel like the game has the same kind of lasting potential that a, you know, a Braid or a VVV has. Still, worthwhile, though, absolutely. There's, like I said, not a whole lot else going on right now, and that sounds like a slight to the game, and in some ways I do intend it to be a slight to the game, in the sense that, you know, if this and Super Meat Boy came out in the same week, no one would be talking about this game at all, and it probably sounds a little bit offensive if the developers are watching, but I don't necessarily mean it that way. But what this is a competent indie, how would I call it? It's like a, I don't want to say work of art, because it's cheesy, but the main reason to get this game is for the fluid gameplay, but also the aesthetics as well. And they make no bones about that as well, and that's fine, the aesthetics are really good. But, yeah, if this came out the same week as Super Meat Boy, this wouldn't be getting very much press. And the only reason it's getting a lot right now is because A, it looks and sounds really cool, admittedly, and B, what else are they going to talk about? Like, this is a dead zone for the gaming press right now. But in any case, not to take away from Dustforce by talking too much about the context of its release, game's totally fine, and I'm sure, you know, there would be a lot of fans of this, even if it came out in November, like the same week as Skyrim, or Skyrim 2, which probably will not be the title of the next Elder Scrolls game coming out in 8 years. But anyway, I digress. Let's just continue playing a little bit more. I think I'll play one more level here, just to show you a little bit more. I mean, you're seeing the variety, or, depending on whether you're cynical or not, the lack thereof in the terms of the game. Let's use a new character. Let's go back to Main Broom Man. He's probably my favorite. Oh god. We might be encountering a boss fight or something. I don't know. That looked like an introduction to a boss fight. I haven't really seen too much in the way of enemies, just like animals that are covered in dust or leaves that you have to sweep up. So I'm interested to know if maybe at the end of the world you run into bosses. Doesn't this look like a boss-type level? Like death should just be around the corner? I'm channeling like some janitorial Castlevania right now. Custodialvania. That could work. I guarantee that someone will use that in a review of this game over the course of the next week. They'll be like Janitorvania, Super Meat Janitor, Custodian, I don't know. Check the press, I promise you that'll happen. But in any case, we're just going to continue onwards here. So you can see, so far, every level pretty much the same, but it's relaxing, you know? It's not taxing like a Super Meat Boy. Oftentimes, Super Meat Boy, I would rage quit because I'd just be so too frustrated, obviously. Although I did get through almost all of it in the end, and as you can see evidence by my channel. This game, much more of a laid-back experience, and I think, at times it kind of suffers for that because it's not nearly as addictive as those games. It doesn't have the same kind of reward system put in place. But it's also something that you can quite easily just pick up and play. Whoa, what is going on in here? Okay, let's murder these guys. I'm not sure, honestly, how the game determines if you can end the level or not. It's not always if you just dust off the last enemy. I think you might have to dust off every enemy that you come across in order to beat the level. Or, a certain percentage of them as well. Or anyway. So, I'm just going to come up here. You can see I'm all charged up here. That means I can do that multi-hit combo again. Although I probably won't. I should just be able to take these guys... Oh, no, I'm going to lose my combo. But I'll still have enough to do the super combo. Man, this gargoyle's taking a lot of hits. But again, you never really feel like you're at risk of dying, because you aren't almost all the time, actually. Let's make our way through here. This is one of the longest levels I've played, actually. In fact, it might be the longest level I've played. I'll probably be ranked dead fucking last on the leaderboards. Come through here. And, I think a reason for the kind of frame rate issues that I'm having right now is that there is kind of a lot of... I'm not really into the industry or, graphic artistry, so I don't know what to call it. I was going to say particle effects, but basically they're modeling a lot of dust clouds here, which could be a problem. Let's just murder these guys. That'll do it. And that'll be the end of the level. Where do I rank? Worth noting also, I'm playing a pre-release build, but it's a very, very complete pre-release build. This game comes out in probably about 12 hours. That's what I heard anyway. The review embargo's up in 12 hours. Hitbox, Matt! Stop taking the #1 spot in your own game. You big dick bag. But anyway, this has been Dustforce coming to Steam today. In fact, should be up for most of you by the time you're watching this video. As far as I know, it's going to be $10, and you know what? If you like what you see, this is a game that you're not going to be disappointed about picking up. If you're kind of on the fence and you're watching the gameplay, then I can't really recommend this as a must-buy purchase. But certainly you can do a lot worse as an impulse purchase, and it's not a bad game. It's just not as good as I was expecting, let's put it that way. Or it hasn't grabbed me as much as I was expecting. And admittedly, I maybe had unfair expectations. I was expecting the next Super Meat Boy, I was expecting the next VVV, or the next Braid, obviously that's not fair, or even the next N or N+. I don't think it quite reaches those heights, but what it does fairly well. And certainly the soundtrack and graphics are both unique, interesting, and actually really well done. I find the soundtrack very, very good. In fact, maybe my favorite part of the game so far. But as always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, in spite of what might be some kind of graphical issues. But anyway, I'm working on that, I promise you. As always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.